notice here, some of you Bible students, especially Dr. Dale looking at me, notice, in Peter, in the 2nd chapter of Peter, your 3rd chapter rather, he uses the word world as a Greek word, cosmos, which means the world order. The earth shall pass away, melt the elements with fervent heat. See, doesn't mean that the earth, the planet's going to pass away, but the world cosmos, the politics, the sinners, the systems, sin, disease, germs, everything that's wrong will pass away. Everything that once God once shook the heavens, but this time He said He'll shake the earth. Heavens and earth. He shook the earth rather than this time He'll shake the heavens. See? For we receive a kingdom that cannot be moved. It's the eternal kingdom. Watch how it goes to it.
"6 days he labored, and 70 rested as complete." See? 6 days he's labored in the world. First 2,000 years, it was destroyed by water. Second 2,000 years, Christ come, and this is the third 2,000 now. At the end of every 2,000, something happens. The world is shook back again. And at 6,000 years he built the world. 6,000 years the church labors against the world. And the 7,000 is that 1,000 years millennium reign. Understand it now?
It is from the air that the true scope of the damage in Haiti becomes clear. Here is what's left of the presidential palace, and this, the National Cathedral. Everywhere else, destruction on a physical and human scale.
From American Samoa, where towering waves from a tsunami swept ashore. The fast-moving high water devastated coastal areas, knocking down buildings and sending cars floating out to sea. In the capital of American Samoa, Pongo Pongo, there were reports that 4 tsunami waves as high as 6 meters swept onto the island. American Samoa resident Joey Cummings described what he saw after one wave hit.
The surge really started for real, and it came up and created this huge muddy river of just trees and boulders and cars and boats. And I keep telling all of my friends that keep calling me. I said, look, I just watched my car float past my second-story window. It was very unreal.
Breaking news now, a major earthquake in Indonesia. The U.S. Geological Survey says that it was a magnitude 7.8 and shook Sumatra. That's the same island, you might remember, where a 9.1 quake triggered the 2004 tsunami. There are
And hello again from CNN Center. I'm Natalie Allen. We want to bring you the latest on the breaking news that we continue to follow out of Chile, where a magnitude 8.8 quake hit about 90 minutes ago off Chile's coast. Yes, 8.8 quake, a very strong earthquake there this morning.
Thanks, Kevin. The earthquake that hit Chile was so strong, people felt the effects hundreds of miles away. But some scientists say it did much more than that, making the days of the Earth shorter. Storm Team 10's Pamela Gardner explains. Pamela?
Mark, according to NASA scientists, the recent earthquake shortened our days. This is a map of Chile. The orange box marks the very destructive 8.8 magnitude earthquake that shook the country on Saturday. Now, scientists are saying the earthquake may have affected the Earth's tilt. The fault line where the quake hit is deep in the Earth, 21.7 miles beneath the surface. The rocks and soil near the center of the earthquake shifted, moving land in such a way that it affects everyone. Think of it like this. The Earth is an ice skater. When skaters spin and pull in their arms, they spin faster because they are more compact. NASA says the earthquake pulled in the Earth's mass, making it more compact, just like the ice skaters. As a result, the Earth is spinning faster. Our Earth days are 1.26 microseconds shorter. That's a little more than a millionth of a second. Mark, Patrice, back to you.
And it's also worth keeping an eye on the La Palma volcano in the Canary Islands, as this region is also in that danger zone that I've plotted, 26 to 29 degrees north latitude. So we do need to keep an eye on this region. Although that the coronal hole doesn't seem to match, we do need to keep a close eye on this. Okay, looking at the AIA 193 angstrom and looking at the southern hemisphere, there is a magnetic filament still attached to the sun, although very faint. There's also a vortex sort of feel on the very edge of the solar corona, and I do feel that we may receive some sort of earthquake in this region also, perhaps 6.2 to 6.5 in magnitude, and the most likely areas would be south 45 to 50 degrees. If we do get a large earthquake in the southern hemisphere, it would more than likely be the base of New Zealand extending down to the Macquarie Islands. This is a fairly active fault line, and I do believe that the coronal hole seems to be fairly symmetric to this region. Now, there is a concern that the Christchurch region may be involved. It does sit at 43 degrees south latitude, and it is fairly close to the area that I'm worried about, so we do need to keep a close eye on this also. Okay, looking at the latest moving imagery with the SDO, and the most prominent feature is the sunspot region here, and it's showing an excessive amount of activity, and it's going to continue to do so for the next day or two, so we should be seeing a lot more X-ray activities recorded on the GOES X-ray flux monitor. Now, we do get to see a magnetic filament still attached to the sun, which extends down towards the limb here, so that's also worth keeping an eye on. It is not as well defined as this time last year, but it is still a filament, and we haven't seen one for a while on the solar corona. And I picked up a filament eruption just above here, and this is quite powerful, so we may be receiving some more solar disturbances.
Now let's look at some other stories making international headlines. New Zealand's Prime Minister has confirmed that 65 people have died following a powerful earthquake in the city of Christchurch. That number is expected to rise significantly. The magnitude 6.3 quake struck just after midday, causing busy office buildings to crash down in the bustling city center. Cries for help could be heard from beneath the rubble during a desperate scramble for survivors. Rescue crews from across New Zealand and Australia are at the disaster site, where a state of emergency has been declared.
Let's have a look at some other international headlines. First to the Philippines, where a volcanic eruption in the east of the country has sent clouds of ash almost 3 kilometers high and forced thousands of people to flee. Witnesses describe the ground shaking before a tremendous explosion. Smoke and ash blanketed nearby villages, disrupting power and communications. The military is helping to evacuate communities near the mountain. The last major eruption was in 2006.